Our Collision 2018 coverage is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. Find out all the ways you can benefit from a Prime subscription and get a 30-day free trial by going to collision.live/prime and by audiobooks.com. Get a free 30-day trial and a book to keep by going to collision.live/audiobooks using promo code TRY70. Well, we have our next guest here. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm doing pretty well.
Go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abdi Hassan. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Our company is called Top Figure, and we're a ad agency helping companies revenue online, helping them grow. So, yeah, that's my background.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
So, we like to really build brands. So how we do that is we mainly focus on storytelling, because a lot of people, they connect through storytelling. Like if you have a story that I could relate to, I'm more so buying into it because of emotion. So we try to find those things and try to really define your brand, because a lot of people, they just focus on the business side and they more so forget, oh, you need to build a brand to kind of keep your business going, especially now. Everything is digital. Social media is really taking over everything, as you can see now. So, yeah, it's really...
As we currently broadcast this to 6 different social media platforms while we're sitting here.
Exactly, and it's like crazy how fast social media is growing and the power it actually has.
Yeah.
So it's a different beast. Yeah.
Okay. So it's all about storytelling.
Okay.
You're good. So the good news is, so are we. How did you decide that this was the challenge that you were going to take on?
Well, good question. At first, I watched one of you guys' other live. I like the type of questions you guys ask. It's not really intimidating type environment. It's more so comfortable.
We try to make it just a conversation.
Exactly.
Because we like to get the story out.
Exactly.
We want to know the history. Why are you doing what you're doing? That kind of thing. That's what we love to hear.
Exactly, and it's fun. We do a podcast kind of similar to this, so I understood. Our podcast is just strictly discussions. We don't want to interview someone, make them uncomfortable. Yeah. So we bring someone new every time, and it's a whole conversation. We just talk about everything, talk about life, how they're feeling, and they'll tell you stuff that they won't say in other podcasts because it's comfortable. Yeah. It's somewhere that they could open up. So that's kind of the energy I got from here. And I was like, you know what?
Excellent.
Let's do it here.
Excellent. So how did you get to where you are? What made you decide that you were going to take this on?
All right. So at first, I'm originally from Des Moines, Iowa, small town, very, very small town. Growing up, I went to a kind of a richer school, and my family weren't that rich. And I was like, I have to come up with a way, because I don't like asking my parents for money. I was like, I have to come up with a way to to get these people's money. So that's when I started selling candy out my locker, and I kind of grew that. And then I started actually renting my friends' lockers for $25 a week and started selling candy out of there too. So they would just bring me money at the end of the week saying, oh, here's how much I sold for you. That was kind of my first franchise experience. What? Then the principal found out. He was like, hey, you can't do that. But he loved the hustle. Yeah, so I didn't get in trouble. He loved the hustle. I was like, okay, that's awesome. But then moving on, I started selling sneakers. That went really well for me in high school. Then after I graduated, I was like, went to college, St. Thomas University. And I was like, University of St. Thomas, I was like, okay, the school route's awesome and everything, but I don't want to be an employee. I've always been an entrepreneur, like-minded my whole life.
Obviously.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? How
Take matters into your own hands.
Yeah, I was like, let's see something that's growing very fast and how I could be involved. And that was when I started the company Top Figure. And at first we started as web development, because we started building websites for people, and that was very much need in Minneapolis. And once we were doing that, we transitioned into a branding company, and because of the people we were building websites for, they were like, okay, do you guys do branding too? We need help with our branding. And then we're like, okay, everyone's asking for this. Websites really isn't our passion. It was just something to get the business going. And once we got that going, we're like, okay, now we're officially a branding company and doing advertisements on Facebook, conversions, getting you sales. So I was like, my whole life I knew how to get sales. I've been an entrepreneur-like person. I can't be an employee. Like my skills are like I'm too passionate to be an employee. I'm like the company I was working at. The digital media company I was working at before. I was giving advice, and they were implementing those things I was advising as an employee. Then I was like, this is interesting. Maybe I am like a CEO-minded person. So that was kind of the long story of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What kind of advertisements have you worked with and using those skills?
Yep. So we do a couple of our clients have an e-commerce store, so they sell online. And we mainly do Facebook ads for them. And we also find influencers on Instagram for them. That's actually really powerful, influence marketing. So the type of influencers we actually look for are the local ones that have that sweet spot of 10 to 15,000 followers, because those are all real local loyal followers. Those are the people that are actually going to buy if they post a picture and say, hey, I like this, I use this, do you guys want to make sure you guys get and use my code? Those are going to be the ones buying it. We tried working with a few that have like a couple of 100,000 and they're broad everywhere. Those aren't as effective as the ones that have 15 to 20,000 range. Those local ones, we do a lot of that. We also do lookalikes on ads when we do our ads, the lookalikes, and we start running different campaigns, seeing what works. And the thing about Facebook ads, the more you do it, the more effective it gets, because the more data you're collecting. And so our clients, most of them, they like continue, and they see more results as we continue, and they understand that. But at first, it was kind of difficult to kind of explain that. We're not getting results as of right now because we're kind of starting, but I promise it's going to happen. Then the ones that actually listened, they started to get results, and that's the power.
It never works great the first couple of times.
Exactly, and so it's an interesting market. So
for sure,
trying to really get into it.
So here at Collision, what was your goal?
Oh, here at Collision, my main goal was actually just networking and seeing what type of because this is my first Collision conference. I really wanted to see what type of people came out here, what type of
passionate people.
What type of startups were here, what type of so I started seeing a lot of Uber-like type systems, a lot of all these startups, and I've seen some very interesting things that I was like, wow, who could really think of this? And and then another thing was
I feel that way all day, every day.
It's crazy. I'm like
doing this.
I'm like, holy snap! Did no one actually think of this?
That's what they've been talking about. Yeah.
Nakia has had all week. He's had a catchphrase: "Money on the table." Like modern art. Why didn't I think of that?
Like, it's literally the most simplest thing, and
it's unbelievable that it hasn't happened.
Like one of the companies, I don't want to say their name or anything. They'll pick up your car, they'll go fix it and return it to you.
Yes.
I'm like, I didn't think of this. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
I know exactly the company you're talking about. We've had a conversation with them.
It's like some of these ideas are just so genius, and a platform like this is such an amazing way to really showcase what you got in store and what type of impact they could really cause in the community. I mean, you never know. We might have the next Uber here at this showcase blow up in the next 7 years.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I absolutely think that we do. I have got one or two companies in my head that I think might be that. So long as they take the advice of what they learn here.
Exactly.
Because there's so much to be learned at this conference.
There's literally so much is like unbelievable, especially like with the network and my whole thing. I'm a big believer on network. I mean, at the end of the day, who you know is going to be the person getting you to the next level. Like,
for sure.
I tell my whole team and I, we at least go to 2 networking events a week. It's like mandatory in our team. It's like we make sure, that's kind of loud.
Okay. We all had to pause to find out what was going on.
Everyone started running.
There's
Yeah,
they love your idea, man.
They're partying on
They're
it.
partying on it.
Yeah.
New Orleans is what's
this
happening.
is New Orleans, definitely.
This is our going away party for New Orleans.
Yeah,
since
they're
we're in
kicking
Toronto
us out
next year.
already. Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, like I was saying though, I'm a huge believer on networking. I've been blessed to get invited to events like the Super Bowl was actually in Minneapolis this year, where we live, our hometown. I got invited to the Champion Circle, which Gary Vee was there, David Melter, C.J. Anderson, some big names were there, networking with them. So it's just about who you know. And if I didn't know the person to put me on that guest list, I would have not been there. So it's like the connections you establish could grow you as a brand, as a company, and overall as a group. So that's what I feel. Networking is really important. So,
and how did you hear about Collision?
So Collision, actually, my two friends over there, they had a booth, and they were like, Abdi, do you want to come to the Collision? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be everything. And they told me everything. And I did a little bit of research on it. I was like, oh, shoot. Wow, I definitely got to go. This is awesome networking. One of the guys, David Melter, we just listened to his speech. There's definitely great people that were here. Al Gore. The founder of Lyft, the founder of Tinder, Twitch. I mean, listening to all these great success stories.
President of Microsoft.
A
little while ago.
Yeah, exactly. Listening to all these success stories really inspires me and says, wow, they've built a pathway for them, and they have some great advice to really share with a younger person like me.
This is a company that came from nothing.
Exactly. It's exactly. So I love those type of things, and I try to put myself in those type of situations as much as I could. And so it was a very valuable event.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, really, really, really powerful. There's some great companies here.
There certainly are, both on the exhibitor side and on the talk side.
On the talk side.
There's been some great content, and then
really great content.
Really cool stuff has started to grow up around it. I don't know if you interacted with any of the unofficial side events, because there's events all over the city. It's
crazy. Like we were walking down Frenchman Street last night, and I started seeing Collision signs on the here's the Collision, come here, Collision, if you're Collision here. I'm like, wow.
I think last night's night summit was on Frenchman Street. Exactly. It was basically they took over the whole street.
Yeah.
But then there's the unofficial stuff. Like we did a cryptocurrency ICO pitch event last night. Totally unrelated. Officially unrelated.
Wow.
They did it because of Collision. They did it here and now because of Collision, but it was unrelated.
It's crazy how, especially now, how powerful brand is. Collision, they established that brand for themselves to where now if you tell me, oh, are you going to go to Collision next year? Oh, of course. I had that experience. Oh, yeah, I heard of them. I did my research on them. Really cool environment. A lot of startup scene, and I love to be in the startup scene, really network with other startups. Cause
you're a natural at being part of the startup scene.
Because the thing
you've got the personality for it.
The thing you realize about all startups, their passion is very unbelievable. They'll have no sales.
Which is what we've been talking about all day.
That has been our topic today.
They'll have no sales. The concept might not even make sense, but at the end of the day, how passionate they are about it, they could make it work somehow. They'll make it work. One of the companies that still to this day surprises me, and it's a great company, is Airbnb. You would think, who would rent out their house to strangers? Who would let strangers in their house? But it's actually a great concept.
Oh, yeah.
Think about when they first brought that idea to a small investor. You know what I'm saying?
And they're like, what?
You're like, what?
You did not get enough sleep last night.
Exactly. It's like at the end of the day, as crazy as an idea might sound, it eventually starts to pivot to a great picture. It's like a flower blossoming into a beautiful scene.
And Nakia and I also mentioned part of our theme today is also magic. Everything's magical. It's how did you do that? That's magic.
That's it.
There's also the whole mad scientist kind of thing that is another one of Nakia's catchphrases, where less so this year, more so in past years. There's those ideas that you look at and you're like, Nope.
No, not making it.
Not a chance that that succeeds. But somebody's going to take that idea and build a
And
thing
build-
out of it.
Because part of that might work for someone else.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy.
It might shift somebody's thought process.
Because at the end of the day, the person that wins is the one that goes out there and hustles the most.
Yeah, indeed.
Even though you might be the smartest person, if you're not out there hustling, someone else is going to eat your plate and take your idea and win with it. So
For sure.
that's this type of environment. So only hustlers survive here. So if you're not ready to eat, your plate's going to get ate and you're going to be starving. So that's what I feel about it.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Definitely.
That's funny. Well, I've absolutely enjoyed this
Definitely.
conversation.
Me too.
This has been a lot of fun. Before we let you go, let people know how they can find out more about you.
Yeah. My name's Abdi Hassan again. My company's Top Figure. We're teamtopfigure.com. My social is on Instagram. You can find our company. We're mainly Instagram because we're Instagram-driven social media guys. Team Top Figure. You can find me on LinkedIn at Abdi Hassan, CEO of Top Figure. So, yeah, that's where they could find me.
Fantastic.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.